What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Paddock, and today I'm going to show you a John Coltrane pattern that you can use in your solos as well as to build saxophone technique. If you have ever listened to a John Coltrane solo, there is a 100% chance that you have heard him play this pattern. That is known as a melodic scale. Now you might think of it as a lick, and that would also be kind of accurate, but to me a lick is more of a full thought, and what John Coltrane is doing here is he's using something called a melodic scale, which is made up of 3 or 4 notes that you can repeat and turn it into a pattern. So this melodic scale is actually pretty simple, but it's very effective to put into solos as well as make a pattern out of it so you can really get your technique down on the saxophone. So the melodic scale is made up of the first, second, third, and fifth notes of the major scale. So when we're talking about a pattern or a melodic scale, we're going to be talking about it in scale degrees as opposed to notes. So if we talk about it in notes, it's going to be hard to transition it or transpose it into different keys. But if we talk about it as in scale degree, it's going to be very easy to put it in different keys. So this melodic scale is made up of 1, 2, 3, 5. So in the key of G, that'd be G, A, B, D. Pretty easy, right? That is the whole pattern that he uses, is 1, 2, 3, 5, but he puts it over different chords. Sometimes he'll make it minor, sometimes he'll just do all kinds of crazy stuff to it. So once you learn this melodic scale, you can use it in several different aspects of your improv and just saxophone practicing. Before we talk about transposing it into other keys or building a pattern out of it, let's talk about what chords this melodic scale will work over. As is 1, 2, 3, 5, it will work over a dominant 7th chord or a major 7th chord. So we have 1, 2, 3, 5. We don't have a 7th in this pattern or in this cell, so it doesn't matter whether it's a lowered 7th or a major 7th. Now we could also play this melodic scale over a minor chord just by taking the third and making it a minor third. So instead of this, which is G, A, B, D, I could just change the B to a B flat, so lower the third by half step, which would make it minor. You could do either one of those. The original one that he uses the most is the major third though, so 1, 2, 3, 5. Now we know how to build the melodic scale and we know what chords we can play it over, so how do we build a pattern out of it? There are a couple different ways, and the easiest one is to do it around the circle of fourths. So if we start on G, then play the exact same melodic scale but start in C. So we play C, D, E, G. Then we would go to F and play F, G, A, C. Then a B flat, so it'd be B flat, C, D, F. So we're just taking this melodic scale and we're playing it in each of the keys going around, actually the camera is the opposite direction, going around the circle of fourths. So I'm starting in G, I'm playing it in G, then C, then F, then B flat. So that is a really cool way to make that into a pattern, and it's going to sound really good, and it's going to be a lot of fun to practice. Now we are going counterclockwise around the circle of fifths to build this pattern, because if we go clockwise or we go in the sharp direction, the 5 would end up being the 1 and it would sound weird. In other words, if I did it in G, I'd play G, A, B, D, and then the next key would be D. So I'd play G, A, B, D, D, E, F sharp, A. It would sound like this. Which just kind of sounds weird because the last note and the first note are the same. So you want to go counterclockwise around the circle of fourths. Once you get it down, just playing it around the circle of fourths, if you want to make it a little bit more difficult and have more fun with it, you can switch back and forth between major and minor. So for the first key, you can play it as the major, so 1, 2, 3, 5. And then the next key, you can make it minor, so it'd be C, D, E flat, G. Then for F, it would be F, G, A, C, major. Then for the next key, B flat, we play B flat, C, D flat, F, so minor. So if you put it all together, That will just give you a different sound and shape, and it'll work your brain out a little bit more as far as being able to switch back and forth between your major and minor thirds. Once you've worked on this pattern around the circle of fourths, another way that you can work on it that will actually make it a good bit more difficult is to play it chromatically. So if I started on G, I would play G, A, B, D, so 1, 2, 3, 5, and G. Then go up a half step to A flat, so A flat, B flat, C, E flat. Then A, then B flat. So if I put it all together, it might not sound like it would be that much more difficult to play it chromatically as opposed to around the circle of fourths, but when you play a lick or a pattern chromatically, it's actually a good bit more difficult. And the reason for that is because you're not building your way through it. So if I go from G to C to F to B flat, those aren't huge differences in key signatures, and those keys all kind of are related to each other. You're just taking away one sharp or adding one flat. When you're doing it chromatically, everything is completely different. So if I start in G, I have one sharp, and then I go to A flat, I have 4 flats, then I go to A, I have 3 sharps, so nothing is related. So when you play a pattern chromatically, it's actually a lot more difficult. So work on this pattern around the circle of fourths, try switching back and forth between major and minor, and then do it chromatically. A final way that you can practice this pattern that will be a lot of fun to work on is through the diatonic major scale. So diatonic, major scale, diatonic just means the notes in the major scale. So if I played this in the key of G, I would play G, A, B, D. Then I would start on the second degree of the G scale and I would play A, B, C, E. Now my intervals are changing, but the idea of the pattern is remaining. I'm just doing it diatonically. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, then 3, 4, 5, 7. So the way the pattern is moving is staying the same, but because I'm doing it throughout the diatonic major scale, the intervals are shifting around a little bit. Just by learning this 4-note John Coltrane melodic scale, you can use it to improvise over dominant 7th chords, major 7th chords, minor 7th chords if you lower the 3rd degree. You can use it as a pattern going around the circle of fourths and playing it chromatically. And you can use it as a scale exercise by playing it diatonically over the major scale. So with this 4-note John Coltrane melodic scale, you can get a whole lot of bang for your buck.